question. What kind of person do you think this world needs? Someone who can provide another economic bailout or more peace and prosperity? Now, all these things may be very good, but I think the world needs someone who can provide more fundamental and more important things. The world needs strong leadership. It needs the leadership of men and women stepping forward in a time of confusion or chaos and leading people in the right direction. It needs leaders who will build communities and bridge conflicts, serve others, and encourage others to serve their fellow man. Well, what kind of leadership is required then? John Maxwell, a leadership expert and author of Leadership Gold, says the first step to leadership is servanthood. And I believe that it is only through servant leadership that we can build communities and bridge conflicts. A servant leader is one who will organize and make plans, as well as work to carry out those plans. One who's not afraid and will even jump at the chance to work for the people and stand in the gap wherever it is needed. A servant leader will also lead by example. He exemplifies what needs to be done by being willing to do it himself. Servant leadership is the strongest because its very nature ensures high ethical and moral standards. When a leader is more concerned about serving the people rather than his own pocket or ego, there's no reason or motivation for him to act unfairly, unreasonably, or immorally. It's not all the good it brings, however. When this leadership tool is wielded correctly, it builds communities and bridges conflicts. So first of all, how does servant leadership build communities? Well, servant leadership itself organizes people by driving them forward. But in order to be effective as a leader, one must be a servant as well. Take, for example, George Washington, our country's first president. Here was a man who stepped forward and led our nation through its earliest years as a free country. He was clearly gifted with leadership, and he used that leadership to organize and direct our fledgling government. He and the other great leaders that are spread throughout our history were extremely effective in leading the people that were under them. They clearly used leadership, but the reason why they were so effective was because they served the people in their position. So in order to be effective as a leader, one must be willing to serve. But how does servant leadership build communities? How is, as Webster's 1828 dictionary put it, a group of people sharing life goals in common fellowship constructed? Well, when a leader is willing to organize the populace and make plans for the benefit of that populace, then instead of really dictating what should be done, is willing to step in and work to carry out the plans for the benefit of that people, that is where the community begins. If you have a leader who shows that it is not beneath him to serve, rather than be served, he is fulfilling the true purpose of his position. Former United States President George Bush believed that a position of power was one in which a person must serve. He said, "Use power to help people. We are not given power to advance our own purposes, not to make a name or a show for ourselves. There is but one just use of power, and it is to serve people." When people find themselves served by those in charge who set the example, they will be inspired to go and serve others. And when people are serving each other and not attempting to advance their own goals, but the goals of everyone, that is community. And community is built. So all it takes is a leader being willing to serve the people. And the people, inspired by the service which they will receive, will be blessed and will serve others, building community. Well, now that a leader has built a community, what is left for him to do? The greatest task is before him in the trial of bridging the continents. But how can a mere man cross oceans and break down cultural barriers merely by acting within his own community? Well, when a leader builds his community using servanthood, that community will want to go and serve other communities around the world. Why? Well, think about it. When a person is blessed by being served, he or she will want to go and bless others by serving them. In the same way, when a community is blessed by being served by its leaders, it will want to go and bless other communities around the world by serving them. This is the whole way that the Rotary Club became an international organization of multiple communities. In Inspired by the service which they received, people went from place to place, founding the clubs of service. And soon those clubs of service were bridging the continent with their international service towards other communities. Service is an international language. No matter what dialect you speak or what ethnicity you are, the simple act of serving another human being speaks more than 1,000 words ever could. When there's nothing to set you apart from your fellow man in China, in India, or any other country for that matter, because there's no language difference. And when there's no language difference, continents can be and are bridged. And all of this because a leader was willing to serve and build a community with that service. And that community, inspired by the service which it received, went and ministered to other communities around the world, bridging the continents. The servant leader has such a profound impact upon his area. I've written a poem, and I hope it conveys to you this great impact of the leader who serves. Service is a blessing that comes from the heart. And if you're a leader, it's where you must start. Stepping down from any position, setting aside any selfish ambition. If one leads with a serving example, the opportunities for greatness will be ample. Those who've unexpectedly been served will also give the gift away, undeserved. People helping each other builds community, and among all, a bonded unity. But then those served will want to reach out and touch the other side of the world, breaking language barriers with never a shout, by serving them with love unfurled. In order to become the greatest, one must become the least. In order to become a leader, one must be the servant at the feast. Loving, serving, helping each other is what we've been told to do. That the greatest leader of the world serves people and bless them. The impact that a servant leader has is so amazing. It not only builds communities, but it bridges the continents. And all it takes is you stepping out from wherever you are in your life and taking the time to meet someone else's need. Whether you're a leader in your own home, in your community, or in your nation. Serve others.